Variety Pack. Food and friends with Canada's best. From east to west, there and back. Eat North Variety Pack. 'Cause variety's the spice of life.
We're back. Episode 8 of Eat North Variety Pack. Mairlyn Smith, Carmen Cheng. How are you two doing today?
I'm good.
Thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. Okay, that's good. I feel like if a co-host gave thumbs down, that would not be ideal for a daytime talk show or whatever the hell this is. But I have a quick question for you. Is this shirt too much or no?
No, it gives me tropical vibes.
Okay.
I'm dreaming of Hawaii.
I'm just trying to put out good vibes because I'm hoping that by this weekend it will actually be warm outside and actually wear shorts and we can pretend like it's actually blown, spring, because it hasn't been very nice here this past week.
Well, then I should be putting my lei on so that I can also channel some vibes.
Okay. Yes. You go and do that.
I'm freezing my butt off here in Toronto. It's so awful, but we're supposed to get a sunny day. We had one yesterday, and we're supposed to get one Saturday. So fingers crossed, and it might be 20 because right now it's 4. Bite me.
4. Okay. Well,
wow.
It's a bit nicer over here in Calgary. I think we're in low teens today, so now I don't feel too bad about it.
You make us feel good, Mairlyn.
Yeah.
So today
I'm going to do a check. Hang on. Oh, they said it was 8. Okay, it went up.
Mm-hmm.
Big. It's still freezing. Anyway.
Maybe by the end of the show, it'll go up even more. So today was supposed to be the day that we were going to see Stage 1 reopen in Alberta with the restaurants and some other businesses. And we got news yesterday, less than 24 hours, that in Calgary and Brooks, at least, our restaurants aren't able to open. But in Edmonton, I know that some restaurants are still planning to. I'm not sure what it's like in Toronto, but just wanted to throw it out there and see what your guys' thoughts are. What have you been hearing? Is it too soon? Do you think people are planning on going out to eat in Edmonton and other places where restaurants are reopened?
Well, for me, because also I'm in Calgary and I obviously keep tabs on the Edmonton food scene as you do too, it's interesting because I think most of us thought it was too soon to reopen restaurants and bars. But with that said, there actually were a lot of small, more independent restaurateurs that were planning to open and spent money on staffing, ingredients, prepping food so they could have their menus ready to launch today. And with less than 24 hours notice, it's really left a lot of people, I don't know, really upset, and rightfully so, because small businesses are struggling as it is. So to not have even 24 hours of notice, which is also interesting because I guess the Premier of Alberta, Jason Kenney, apparently they made the decision to not allow Calgary area and Brooks area restaurants to open on Tuesday night. So they knew actually almost 2 days in advance, but they didn't announce it until late afternoon yesterday. So I feel like that's even worse now that I know that. Anyway, it's not a great situation for restaurants, perhaps too early to open, but now even worse for some.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've been hearing lots of hesitation to go to restaurants just immediately. I still hear a lot of support for takeout and delivery, but I feel for those business owners because, you're trying to do what might be right for your customers or your business. You're spending thousands of dollars trying to get your inventory up, right? As well as buying new PPE, and then less than 24 hours notice. Like, I hope that food doesn't go to waste now for a lot of these businesses.
Yeah, and every province is different. So Ontario, we're not there yet. We open curbside, so you can pick things up anywhere. Well, in a lot more stores with curbside pickup, but we're not up to where you guys are. So. I've got a girlfriend who lives in Spain, and she was just saying that, the restaurants are closed on the inside, but you can go outside and eat in the patios because they had the tables so far apart. So maybe, come the summer and the good weather, I'm hopeful that's going to happen in Toronto. So
I just saw too this morning that actually the city of Hamilton is now allowing restaurants to do kind of spill onto the streets or areas outside of the sidewalk and actually have these patios attached to the restaurants, which I think, in terms of hopefully getting nicer weather, I think that actually will be really helpful to restaurants. You still have to be spaced out and whatnot, but like I've talked about time and time again, whether it's on our Eat North podcast or in different interviews with different outlets, saying 50% capacity for one restaurant is so different to another, because if you go to a restaurant that, maybe seats 24 and it's this cool swank little cocktail bar, it's super cozy, taking out half those seats, it probably still doesn't have it line up to this 6 feet spacing. So whereas a restaurant that might be more, higher end or more space for servers to flow around freely, I think that those kinds of restaurants can remove a table and still be within the 50% limit. But I think that even in Alberta, in Edmonton, I'm curious to see how smaller businesses will handle that 50% capacity and what they're going to do, because I can think of many places that it's the space wise, it's still not ideal with the restrictions they still have in place.
Yeah. No, I'm really concerned about so many businesses going out of business, and I'm really sad, but I not that I want to pivot, but I do have a question that's been burning on my brain. I'm in my kitchen all the time, and there's certain little things in the kitchen that kind of drive me crazy, or they used to, and it was emptying my dishwasher. I like to put all the stuff in, but I hated taking it out. And for whatever reason, during COVID, I'm excited about taking the clean, sterilized, healthy dishes out of my dishwasher now. So has anything changed for you guys? Is there anything there that you're still going, or you're like, I'm really happy now? I don't know. What's going on in your kitchen?
Carmen, you go first, because mine was the dishwasher, so I'm going to think of another.
Oh, sorry.
Well, I'm kind of the same. I'm actually the opposite right now of you, Mairlyn, where I am really bothered about doing dishes. So versus, you're feeling much better off during COVID about doing dishes and having it clean. I'm noticing that between the two of us, we're going through dishes like crazy. And, I don't know why we need to go through 10 cups a day or 20 pieces of utensils a day. But emptying the dishwasher, even rinsing dishes to put it into the dishwasher has become a irritant in my daily life. And I know that's first problems.
I thought of another one too, and these are sort of irrational hates. Obviously, I love being in the kitchen in general, but I try to not have to be the one to tie up and take out the garbage. So even if it's really full, I'll be like, can I just push that down a little bit more, and then I'll just make sure to not go in the kitchen for 2 hours, and hopefully my partner has wrapped it up and taken it outside. So that's the one that I really try to avoid.
Well, your sisters have still now.
Smart.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm doing that one. Although, you know what? Just to even get out of the house is a big deal. So I'm like, oh, no, I'll take it out. So, yeah, I don't know. But it's a genius idea.
Absolutely. And outside of the kitchen, there's been a lot of news about restaurants not being able to reopen. And yesterday, I sort of wish Mike Green from Winnipeg was on the show today to talk about this, because he's on every other week. But Segovia, which is a really well-known Spanish restaurant in Winnipeg, they just announced last night that they're permanently closed now. And outside of it being absolutely devastating, it was my favorite restaurant in all of Canada, actually. The owner said that they just weren't interested in reopening post-pandemic to a watered down version of what their restaurant's supposed to be. They were open for 10 years. They built up this idea of contemporary Spanish food and elevated service, and the dining experience there was amazing. And to not be able to offer what you spent 10 years building to them just didn't seem worth it. So because of that, they're not reopening. And we saw something somewhat similar happen with the Hollows in Saskatoon closer to a month ago, when they announced they weren't going to reopen. Although they were always going to close at the end of the year, the Hollows just didn't see value in operating as a really, again, watered down takeout version of what they wanted their restaurant to be. So do you think we're going to see a lot of these contemporary restaurants, and these are restaurants that are best new restaurants in Canada on the Canada's 100 best list? Do you think we're going to see a lot of these places not reopen?
I think so.
Yeah, go ahead, Mairlyn.
Okay, thanks, Carmen. I just think I understand that, if your passion is, this is your baby, and now you can't present your baby in the way that it would, best be
Right.
presented, then you're sort of doing this watered down version. And I understand that. Like, I would never write a cookbook that I wasn't, 100% proud of.
Absolutely.
And so, I totally, it's very sad. And I salute their integrity for honoring what they believe in, but I'm really sad. That's very sad.
And I agree. I think that there's restaurateurs that have developed a vision for a space and a vision for their concept. And certainly we just mentioned even a few minutes ago, like those smaller wine bars or the small intimate spaces. Right. And to think about reducing that down to 50% capacity, or the distance you now need to maintain with your customers. And especially if you've been around for a long time and you have, really strong relationships with those customers, like how would that look and how would that translate in this new world? I also think we're going to see some like small mom and pop shops, especially in like the ethnic cuisines that might find it difficult, more so from that cost perspective, right? Again, we're talking about increased cost for PPE, decreased volume of people coming in. There's an increased cost for takeout, even to get an online system in place, and a lot of these small businesses don't have that, or to buy like takeout containers can get quite expensive, and all of those processes that come along with it. I think that a lot of business owners are going to find that it's not feasible for them.
No, absolutely. I agree 100%. So it's a tough situation. And again, we do this, it's so day by day and week by week. I feel like every week when we talk, we're always talking about something COVID related, not surprisingly, but every week we're talking about something different just because things can really change on a dime. So, by this time next week, maybe Toronto has, 100 restaurants open and things are at 50% capacity and things in Alberta have not gone wrong. And anyway, for now, we'll see what happens over the weekend. I was somewhat looking forward to perhaps going to a restaurant in Calgary this weekend purely to see, for the sake of science, to see what post-pandemic dining is like and how sterile it is, because I feel like it would be quite sterile. So I'm curious to see how people in Edmonton react to the new form of dining out.
Well, it's interesting. I've even started to see emails in Edmonton for people to host like events in restaurants, which seems quite drastic for me, going from like, physical distancing and like not going into restaurants at all to going into like restaurants for events. So it will be really interesting to see how people pivot and what this next normal looks like.
Right. Yeah. Well, we'll see, and we'll obviously talk more about this next week. But for now, why don't we talk about pasta? How does that sound?
Yay, comfort food.
Okay. So I'm really excited for our next guest because this is someone who I actually learned to make fresh pasta with years ago. She is a food writer, cookbook author, and a pasta artist. Her name is Linda Miller-Nicholson, and she does amazing works of art with pasta. I have this little video that we can watch here. It's stop motion, and all of what you see on the screen is made by her, and it's all different colored pastas, and it's absolutely beautiful. So once the video is done, we're going to bring her on for the interview.
Sounds good.
How cool was that? Don't tell me that wasn't the coolest thing you've seen in your life.
Nice.
So we have Linda Miller-Nicholson here from Seattle. Linda, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me all the way up in Canada with you guys. I'm so excited to virtually be here.
It's super fun to have you, and you are actually our first non-Canadian guest. We try and keep things Canadian here, but I know that you have a massive love of Canada.
Well, and also I'm from Seattle, so I mean, I feel like honestly, if we were to try to sort of reform our borders, you guys would be stuck with us. We really want to be closer to you. So I get most of the wheat that pasta is made from actually is grown in Canada. So a lot of stuff that I work with day in and day out comes from you guys. So all my flour here, I'm going to give you the camera a little flour shot for you.
Well, we are honored that you're creating such beautiful works of art with the flour and your pasta doughs. And Carmen and Mairlyn, were you aware of her account Salty Seattle before I told you she was coming on the show?
I wasn't, but now I'm stalking you.
Yeah.
So
Yay! I love beautiful women stalkers. They're so much better than the typical garden variety.
I was, just because I think Dan, maybe you would have posted about, Linda, did you do something for Pride? I remember.
Yes.
Pride is sort of a long-standing favorite season of mine. In fact, last year at Pride, I don't know if you can see this. This was one of the outfits that I wore, and so an artist actually used my pasta to render me in pasta in my Pride outfit, which I thought was so cool. I don't know if the camera could see that, but yes, I'm very, very sad. In fact, missing Pride is going to be really one of those events this year that will be just absolutely hits you in the heart. I mean, all of the restaurant closures are just completely devastating that you guys were talking about earlier, and we're facing some of those same things here in Seattle with just, a list that's ever growing of places that we'll never be able to visit again. And, doesn't it make you just think about the hindsight and God, I wish we would have known for the last 9 months so we could have just gone out every single night and frequented and supported these places.
It does. It honestly does.
That's a good point, Linda. Is that, a lot of us go, when I do this, I'm going to go do that. I mean, and you got to live in the moment. We have to do. I mean, if anything that we're learning from this is that don't put anything off, go do it because you just don't freaking know.
Absolutely. Yep. Very much so. So you guys, do I get to make some pasta for you? Because I have these pretty pasta sheets.
Yes, you do. I have a couple questions for you first, though, for people that are not familiar. Although you've had international success with all of your...
At the same time.
Yeah, that's right.
Can you cook and talk at the same time?
I can cook and talk at the same time. Yes, I cannot walk and chew gum, but I feel like I can. No, but I mean, I want to actively talk to you about what I'm doing here. So I'll wait. Let's fire away questions.
I just want to give you kudos because, I've known you for a long time and I've really saw this pasta art grow and grow and grow. And you've been featured internationally really for this talent. I've never seen anyone do what you do. So that's why we're so excited to have you on the show. And again, using flour that's made from Canadian wheat to create these works of art. But a lot of people can look at colored dough. I'm just going to show some examples of your work here as well as the cover of your book, Pasta Pretty Please. You can see these vibrant colors. She also takes strands of pasta and makes Baby Yoda, rainbow leaves, really anything under the sun. The other day you even made flaming Cheetos gnocchi, which was interesting.
Oh, the flaming hot Cheetos gnocchi. Yes. Well, and then a few days before that, I made gnocchi out of Fruit Loops, actually, and kind of reinvented that as a dessert gnocchi. And I really was fully prepared to loathe it because I create all of my colors personally out of vegetables, herbs, and superfoods. Right, I don't use anything artificial, but just sort of as a, it's quarantine, we'll have a little bit of fun. Yeah. I separated each of the different colors of the Fruit Loops box, which I did 2 large boxes, and that took like 4 hours. Probably part of that was my assistant was my 11-year-old, and so I'm not sure how much of the Fruit Loops went to the separation in piles and how much went to his palate. But yeah, and then I turned that into gnocchi, and I actually rolled the gnocchi into little shapes that looked just like Fruit Loops. You could see it on my Instagram if you want to take a look. But it was delicious. It was like crazy good. And it made me kind of think, okay, you can't take things so seriously all the time. And if 95% of the time I'm getting all of these awesome colors out of vegetables, then, maybe 5% of the time I can do something a little bit naughty and Fruit Loop it up.
I agree 100%. And so we're going to give the viewers a bit of a better view of what you're doing. So we're just going to have Carmen do the rest of the pasta process with you. Okay.
Okay. That sounds fun.
Okay. All right. You two have fun.
Awesome. I'm so excited. Linda, I love pasta. Are you finding, I guess my first question is, how did you get started in this? How did you find your love for colored pastas? Right, and please go ahead and walk us through what you're doing too.
Okay, great. So I've actually been making pasta since I was 4 years old, more or less once a week my entire life until about 5 or 6 years ago, I turned it into my career. And back to my son, that actually, I was big pasta maker all the time, but typically just classic egg and flour pasta. But he went through a very picky phase where he wasn't eating vegetables. And I thought to myself, I know how to get vegetables in that kid. I will just puree the vegetables with the eggs and then put that in the pasta dough. Wow. And so with that, I wound up being able to make all of these really cool colors like you see here. This is a green sheet and it has blue stripes on it. So these are the doughs that I used to make that. And then each of these 2 colors in particular, the green I mean, you can use anything that's green. I use parsley because it's really nice and vibrant and has kind of an almost electric quality to it. But spinach or kale or chard or virtually anything under the sun works for green. It's foraging season right now, so you could actually use nettles. Nettles is a very common green additive to pasta. And then the blue is a little bit more unusual. So it's these flowers here. Hold it in my hand and maybe hold it out to the camera so you can see. They arrive dried. They are native to Southeast Asia, and they're called butterfly pea flowers. Oh, cool. And actually, there is a very famous Canadian gin, award-winning, that is made from butterfly pea flowers.
He was on the show just last week, actually.
Oh, good. I was like, can we say the Empress name gin. Or can we not? Yes, the Empress gin. It's so good, and the color is so awesome. And I've used the same thing to make blue pasta. So nice. They're like really magical, super cool flowers. But yeah, so I started with 1 or 2 colors, and then I just kind of went crazy. And now there's, I mean, you name it, and I probably pastaed it.
Nice. So what are you going to do for us here?
So I'm making ravioli. So I have these sheets of pasta that I've already ran through the pasta machine. A lot of people don't have pasta machines, and a lot of people are making pasta during the stay-at-home order. So I do also try to use a rolling pin myself personally, at least a couple of times a week, and avoid the pasta machine completely. It's how I get these massive muscles.
Say that's a good workout.
No, not at all. But you can really do most of this with just a rolling pin. It just takes a little bit more elbow grease. And I'm going to use this handy dandy little ravioli tablet here. So it's just these 2 pieces that come apart, and there are kind of some teeth on the top. So I'm going to place my pasta sheet upside down on the ravioli tablet there. And then I'm just going to pipe filling into this everywhere where there's a little depression. And then this will make square ravioli. So I've been thinking a lot about pasta fillings lately because, well, we're not going out to restaurants. And so sometimes those typical ingredients that would emerge in the springtime that you would see all over restaurant menus, ramps and nettles and really great, interesting mushrooms and things, we're having to, I'm really missing them a lot. And so I am trying to find creative ways to source them at home. And I'm sure it's probably like this in Canada as it is here. A lot of the farmers are trying to figure out creative ways to sell directly to consumers. So to, kind of avoid the middleman in this case. And so it's been interesting to try to source really fun, cool, unique ingredients. Today I'm working on a pasta filling that is ramps infused. So those cool wild onions from the East Coast. And I can smell it right now, and it's like intoxicatingly heavenly.
I wish there was smell-o-vision for me.
I always wish. Yes, they're so good. They're like so good. And I know, and we only get them once a year. No, there's so many seasonal things, I think, with the stay-at-home order that are kind of interesting that was talking to actually fishing just in Washington State. We just were allowed to start fishing again a week ago. So for 6 weeks, fishing was basically non-essential. And so there was a lot of fish that we weren't getting. And now, of course, everybody's gone crazy and are back out there. But we've missed a lot of we're famous for Dungeness crab and certain kinds of oysters and spot prawns and things. Yeah. So we were missing those seasons, which I guess the silver lining is it's probably good for the ocean. It's certainly been beautiful outside without the cars on the road, right?
Well, and I agree with you. I mean, I'm from Vancouver, BC. I know we were talking about Vancouver, Washington a little while ago, but Vancouver, BC. And I mean, I'm used to going to Seattle a few times a year. And you have such a good bounty of produce and bounty of ingredients out there. And talking about cool ingredients, what's been the coolest experience that you've been able to take part of because of your pasta?
Oh my gosh. So I did a huge pasta art installation for a supermodel, Gigi Hadid, not too long ago. So that exists in her kitchen, which is really awesome. I have made pasta with some very interesting people. I don't know if you remember, there was a show called Jersey Shore for the longest time. And the lead actress on Jersey Shore, I guess, is sort of I don't know, maybe putting it loosely because it's real, was Snooki. And so I got to teach Snooki how to make pasta. And I was very worried ahead of time because you really need to have short nails that are like well trimmed. And she's famous for having these, like claw-like nails. And so I was racking my brain trying to come up with a pasta shape that we could make that didn't take a lot of manual dexterity, and luckily she was like completely overjoyed and thrilled and had so much fun, and she wound up doing a pretty good job. So I was impressed. Oh. So while we were talking, I filled the ravioli, and then I set the top sheet over the ravioli there to kind of encase that filling. And if the pasta sheet's ever so slightly on the dry side, I usually just use a small brush with a little bit of water to everywhere that I want it to seal for sure. I will put a little bit of a brush of water down. But now I'm going to do the magical part where I'm going to put a little bit of flour over the top of that tablet and then just use a rolling pin. And I'm not sure if the camera can actually see this or not, but you roll along here until you start to see the actual cuts emerge through the pasta, so I can see kind of the shape and know that I have actually pressed hard enough to make the pasta come out. And then I can peel those sides. With these scraps, I always save these scraps. People are often like, oh, but there's so much waste. I don't waste it at all. I will just wrap this back up, and then when I'm ready, I'll resheet it through the pasta machine and turn this into like tagliatelle pasta. Because they're really, there's no reason to waste it. It's delicious, good, fantastic pasta. So then the magical part is when you pull this off and then you look, I'm going to show it to you before I dump it out. Hopefully they don't fall out on me. And you have all those ravioli there, and then you can just pop them out like so, and it seals them perfectly, and we have these little square ravioli.
Nice. So I see that you're doing tutorials on Instagram right now. Is that the case?
Yeah, so many people are asking, how do I do this? How do I do this? And so I am trying to normally, similar to Dan from your show, my life consists of usually about 50 or 60% travel versus being in my pasta studio where I am here in Seattle. And so we're finding ourselves at least with a little bit more time to do things. And so I am trying to sort of share my knowledge. I definitely noticed a lot of people who had my book previously or had just gone out and bought the book were finally actually starting to really get into the nitty gritty of the recipes, instead of just sort of that high level skim. So there's a huge uptick in pasta making right now. And it's been fun to be kind of at the forefront of watching people get excited about it.
Absolutely. I wish I could taste your pasta, but where can we find your book so that we can learn all your cool recipes and try this for ourselves?
Yeah. So one really great sort of immediate gratification way to access the book would be to buy the digital copy. And I'm not big on digital copies usually. And it's on that large platform that shall not be named. But it's really anywhere books are sold, you can order it. Any independent bookstore will have it, or, that big multinational conglomerate where you can get all sorts of things. But I did finally download the digital version of a couple of cookbooks just because it is right now harder to order physical books. And I'm a recent convert. I've actually come to decide that on the Kindle, it's actually very easy, very searchable, and kind of when you can quickly move back and forth between pages and easily search keywords, it's almost easier than flipping to the back of the book and looking at an index. And there's, for me, no replacement for a physical copy of a cookbook in any case. I love it, and I love the way it feels in my hands. But it's almost, I could see there's a time and a place for both. And right now it's really cool because you can order a book and have it instantly there instead of being faced with some of the sort of delays. So,
and I think that there are a lot of shipping delays. So I think that's really smart. Can't wait to get my hands on a copy.
Yes, we pop back in here. That pasta looks amazing. Do you ship to Canada? Can I get some of that or no?
I know. What is up with not being able to ship back and forth? It's not fair. Like, I wish that I could figure out a way to ensure that, that it wouldn't take 3 weeks and you'd wind up with a moldy
All right. Well,
ball of yuck.
We won't keep you any longer, Linda. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk pasta with us and your experiences in Seattle. And as always, I just love seeing what you do with it. You're just so creative. I
had so much fun, you guys. Thanks for having me, and enjoy the rest of your lovely, blustery day.
Yes. You too.
Bye, guys.
Linda.
Now, wasn't she something else? Absolutely phenomenal.
Goodness.
She's amazing. She's a pasta magician.
Yes, yeah, pasta magician. I like that. She in my book, she's one of a kind. And just again, knowing her for a while and watching the progression over the years, she deserves every bit of success that she's got. It's been amazing. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. Her Instagram is beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
I like Mairlyn, have been stalking it, and so gorgeous with all the pasta and colors.
No, it's great. All right, so next up we have Steve Brochu, who is the chef from Edmonton. Yeah, he owns MilkCrate, which is a partially catering company, partially cafe, and he's going to make a dish with Mairlyn, and then after that we are going to visit with a very talented country singer. So, Mairlyn, I'm going to let you take it from here and head into Steve's kitchen.
Yay! Steve, I'm in your kitchen, and do you remember this?
It kills me that you have that. Yes, of course. How could I forget?
Yeah, it's funny, when they told me I was going to interview, it's like, you know what, like, how many chefs do I know really, like I really know in Canada, plus that I was in a black box competition, and it's you, Steph. Oh my God, Chef Steve, oh my goodness. And the only reason I won, it was a pity win. I swear it was a pity win.
No,
and because your food was phenomenal. Yeah.
Your dish was amazing. It was so much fun cooking against you. I loved putting things on high shelves just to try and slow you down. It was great.
Well, it was a fundraiser for the Alberta Diabetes, and we raised some money, so that was all a really good thing. But look, I get to be in your kitchen, and you're going to make, what are you making for us today?
I'm making pasta aglio-olio. So it's very simple pasta with chili flakes, garlic, parsley, and lemon, finished with a little bit of Parmesan cheese. It's a great lunch, and it's a really cold day here in Edmonton, and I'm feeling kind of in the mood for some comfort food, so this is what I'm going to be making.
Okay, so now I'm a huge fan of yours, and not only are you a fabulous chef, you're just a fabulous human. And when I heard that your cafe, Eat MilkCrate, is Eat MilkCrate is the whole name, right? Or Eat?
Actually, it's just MilkCrate.
It's just called MilkCrate.
I mean, people should eat at MilkCrate, which is great. Right. But yeah, we're on social media. We're Eat at MilkCrate, but the cafe is just MilkCrate.
Okay, good. All right. But what I was really excited about is the pivot that you've done. And now you're offering cooking classes. You deliver the food. Like, my mind was exploding. And I thought, you are a genius. So tell us what you're doing in Edmonton. I wish I was there, because I would so be doing this with you. Okay.
Well, first of all, I can send you a shopping list, and then we can work together over a couple of cities, which would be a ton of fun. But how it's working here in Edmonton is we had a guest just before the pandemic reach out to us and ask if we did any at-home cooking classes. And with social distancing and everything, we were a little worried about how to pull that off. So we started thinking, like, I wonder if there's a way that we could shop for them, drop off the ingredients, and then cook together over the internet. And it's a genius idea, yeah. And it's been working so far. So I drop off all the ingredients at their homes. I run back, grab a Zoom conference call with them, and we just cook for about 2 hours. It's a lot of fun. We've done sourdough, beef Wellingtons, risotto. It's been very, very, very exciting and cool to kind of experience different climates. Like, there was a group in Colorado that wanted to do risotto with us, and we actually noticed that all three players in Colorado, their risottos cooked faster than ours did here.
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. Yeah.
That's science, but I'm sure it has something to do with them being 4,000 meters higher than us. And
it totally did.
It was so cool to actually see that. So we've done, I think our biggest group we've done is 30 so far. And it's been really cool being involved in people's lives during this pandemic.
You know, and you're really doing a wonderful service because, you know, I mean, we all are, you know, we're getting into the kitchen, but a lot of people are getting into the kitchen have no skills. And so, you know, a chef, restaurant quality, this is so good. You know what? We're going to do something. You and I will do something. You can send me the list together. That'd be hilarious. Okay, good. All right. All right. So you chopped up a whole bunch of garlic. Now you just sliced it really thinly. You didn't mince it, right? You just sliced it.
Thin slice, and then the parsley, again, just a rough chop. Yep. This works with flat or curly parsley.
Right.
And then we're just going to add...
How many garlic cloves? How many garlic cloves? There was a lot.
There was about 8 or 10 there.
Yeah. Oh, I love you, man. I'm a garlic girl.
Yeah, exactly. And then once you're ready...
Got about a cup of parsley from what I can see. Is it about a cup? No?
A cup and a half of parsley, however much you want.
Yep.
Then you grab your hot pan. Add your garlic.
Yeah. What kind of oil did you use?
Virgin olive oil in the pan.
Right. So I'm a fan of canola. So I could have used canola and then maybe top dress it with the extra virgin.
And even if you have like a cold pressed canola, that would be even better here. We just add a little bit more flavor.
Yeah.
Once you turn brown,
add
about a tablespoon of chili flakes.
Woo! A tablespoon.
And you cook it until it starts to turn brown. Then you'll add your pasta, give it a toss, squeeze a lemon and some of the fresh cut parsley, and you'll end up with a finished product.
Wow. Now, when you cook your pasta, do you you go? So many Canadians cook the living life out of pasta. So explain how it feels when you cook it right. Like how when you have that al dente. Is it al dente or el dente? I always forget.
It's not el dente.
El dente. No.
But it's
that was Spanish. No.
It translates to the tooth. So what you're looking for is, if you were to think of pasta as a steak, your pasta should almost feel medium. Like you should see a little resistance, but then if you really chomp down, at that point, your pasta's got about another minute of cooking. So either move it to your sauce or keep cooking in your water, but it'll continue to cook. And once you have this little bit of resistance on your tooth, that's perfect pasta.
I love that you equated it to a steak. It's genius. Okay, good. All right, so you just finished it off in the oil and the garlic and the red pepper flakes. You add the parsley. You're not cooking the parsley. You're tossing it in. Okay.
Squeeze a lemon.
So a half a lemon. Yep.
Half a lemon.
Yep. This is my idea of comfort food, man.
Oh, it's perfect.
Your restaurant. The next time I come to Edmonton, I have to come by it. But I know you're starting to open things up in Edmonton. Are you going to be opening? Are people going to be? What's going on?
It's a hot button issue right now on whether or not to open. Because of our cafe, we were already takeout.
Oh, okay.
We never really closed. However, through this, we are aware that because we're in an office building, a lot of people are going to be coming back to work, or some people are going to be coming back to work. And we want to do our best to ensure people that we're taking everything seriously. So we rearranged our floor plan and kind of created a human drive-through. There's arrows that lead you in. There's little stopping points. You hit the cashier. We're prepared to not even take money. We'll just take your verbal email. We'll send you an invoice. You can pay for it via your phone, so you don't even have to interact with us. And then your food and coffee will be waiting right by the exit of the cafe.
That is genius.
Yeah. So, and I know a lot of restaurants are working really hard and trying to take this just as serious as we are. And it's scary. It's really scary because you're forced to think about the safety of your guests, your staff, and the financial safety of your business.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's some chefs out there that it's weighing on them, that they are going to have to make some tough choices, whether to stay open or to stay afloat.
Yeah.
And there's no easy answer for it, and everyone's different.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But I like the way that you've converted yours. I mean, like you've looked at all the, what is your particular situation? How can I make this work? And kudos to you for doing that. So, yeah. And you know what? Only in Canada. Get your email and then we'll make sure we pay you. So that's great. Okay. I love the way, I don't know. I hope everyone's watching how you plated that you twirled the plate. I have never done that. That's good. I like that trick.
Oh, and you lower it slowly as you're spinning the plate. And then as you get closer to the end of the plate, you start turning your wrist as well.
Yeah. It was awesome, man. It was like, oh, this is good. Okay, this is a good takeaway. All right, so you did the parm on it and just a little bit of parm. Would you ever top dress with extra virgin?
Yeah, I'm just going to finish it now, a little bit extra virgin.
Yeah, because that's my, when I went to Italy, that was my biggest mind-blowing thing, was everything was topped with extra virgin olive oil. So, yes. Marry me.
Okay.
Oh, my husband's lurking around somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sure my wife would be really stoked about this.
Hey, thank you so much. Good luck. Good luck with your online. Let's work something out where we cook together. But also in Edmonton, if you're in the area, get over to MilkCrate and get your lunch and follow the human car takeout line. I love that expression. Good. Thank you so much, Sharon. And
so good seeing you.
the only reason I won, it was a pity win. Trust me. Anyway.
We may have to throw away for me to win that back.
Oh, you're on. Gloves are off. Okay. Ciao.
Ciao.
Who doesn't love
Holy
Steve? He's so lovable on camera. Like, he's such a natural. He doesn't do TV or videos that often, but he's just so charming. He's a great guy.
He's great. And my husband was watching it. I have to go and appease him. Anyway, so I actually have to go. We're sharing a computer.
Okay.
So lovely show. So great to see you guys. I'll see you all next week.
It's great to see you, Mary. And now we are going to bring on Kalsey Kulyk, who is a very talented Canadian country singer. She's going to chat a bit with me, sing a song, and then we'll wrap up the show. So I'm going to bring Kalsey on here. Hey, Kalsey, how are you doing?
Hey, Dan, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks so much for being on the show today. We love incorporating music as much as we can into what we do at E-North, and you're obviously a huge talent, so we're honored to have you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's tons of fun. Are you a big food fan? Do you cook a lot at home?
I have been now,
Yes.
but I like to eat out because, people cook food better than I do. But I have been lately, and it's been going okay.
Have you been hopping? I feel like the biggest trends in cooking at home is either making sourdough or banana bread. Have you done either of those?
Yes, I definitely have. I've actually, I spent a lot of time with my grandma, and my grandma is she's cooked for years. So we've been making a ton of homemade bread and cinnamon buns, and oh my gosh, I've been eating fantastically in quarantine. It's been great.
Oh, that's good to hear. And we were talking before we took the show live, but you're actually from Saskatchewan. You grew up in Hudson Bay, Saskatchewan. So we love people from the prairies here on the show. What was it like growing up in a really small town on the prairies?
It's funny because I was talking about it today. It's been, growing up in Hudson Bay was incredible. There's the Northern Lights there, which is amazing. But it's a really wholesome and organic way of growing up. We grew up 3.5 hours away from the closest McDonald's. We always had pickled, pickles and beets and jams and all that sort of stuff. So I was talking to my mother-in-law today, and I was saying, it's crazy. I forgot how spoiled I was living in that environment because we ate organic and we ate wild meat all the time. So, I would not have traded it for the world.
I find that a lot of people that did grow up in the prairies in Canada were sort of living that local food mentality way before it was cool. So it's interesting that you say that, because I completely agree. And now you call Nashville home, although you are in Ontario right now. Is there any Canadian foods that you miss when you're in Nashville that you just can't find there?
Yes, I miss poutine. Absolutely 100%. Ketchup chips.
Yes.
Whiz. And I miss Caesars because they don't have them down there.
Do you know today is National Caesar Day? Do you know that?
Okay, well, thank you for brightening my day because I'm going to have to go and have a Caesar after this.
Yes, you definitely should. Okay, enough about food. We should really talk about your music. You've been putting out a lot of great music recently. One that I listened to most recently was a cover, Billie Eilish, and that was such an interesting way of interpreting a really famous song. But today you're gonna play a brand new song that no one's heard before, right?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Well, we're honored. So do you want to tell us a bit about it? It's called Don't Ya?
Yeah, this song is called Don't You, and I wrote this song with Tammy Kidd and Rick Huckabee. And when I was little, I used to sit in front of the TV and just watch CMT all of the time. And one of my favorite singers was Leanne Rimes when I was growing up. And she had this song called Probably Wouldn't Be This Way. And I used to sit in front of the television and just watch this video, and I would just cry. It just like touched my heart, and I loved that song. I still sing it, like it'll pop in my head all the time. And it was so funny because when I was down in Nashville, my publisher set me up with a write with this lady named Tammy Kidd. And so I looked at her credentials, because that's typically what I do before I go into a write, to see if they've written anything that I would know. And she wrote that song, Probably Wouldn't Be This Way. And so we got, sorry?
It's meant to be.
Oh, it was meant to be. Yeah, absolutely. I walked into the write and I was like, okay, before we start this write, I just have to tell you I'm such a fan because I love that song, Probably Wouldn't Be This Way. I was like, we can't write a sad song today because I have too many of those. I was like, but I just have to tell you I love that song. So we ended up writing this song, Don't You?
Great. And is it out tomorrow on streaming platforms?
Well, actually, this song is going to be, we're actually in the process of going into the studio to record this one. So this one's probably going to be out this year.
Oh, okay, great. Well, I'm really looking forward to hearing the final produced version, but I can't wait to hear the acoustic version as well. So I'll let you take it from here.
Awesome. Here it is. Well, maybe you got me on your mind. Think you might think about me all the time. Don't you, baby? Don't you, baby? Trying to be a flower on the wall, paying me no attention at all. Being cool. Well, I'll make the first move, that's alright. Make conversation, break the ice. You freeze right there, look kinda scared. But boy, I think that's cute. You're telling me you're gonna say goodnight. I see the truth out in your eyes. What you saying, maybe? Well, maybe you got me on your mind. Think you might think about me all the time. Don't you, baby? Don't you, baby? I've seen you around, boy, watching me. Took you long enough to buy me a drink, maybe two. Well, I'll make the first move, that's alright. Break conversation, break the ice. You freeze right there, look kinda scared. Well, boy, I think that's cute. You're telling me you're gonna say goodnight. I see the truth out in your eyes. What you saying, maybe? Maybe you got me on your mind. Think you might think about me all the time. Don't you, baby? Don't you, baby? Don't you, baby? Don't you want to spend a little time with me? Don't you want to know where a kiss might lead? This is feeling pretty good, boy, don't you think? Don't you? Don't you? You're telling me you're gonna say goodnight. I see the truth out in your eyes. What you saying, maybe? Maybe you got me on your mind. Think you might think about me all the time. Don't you, baby? Don't you, baby? Don't you, baby?
Yes, that was awesome.
Thank you.
That was
Thank
great.
you guys.
I think I was definitely singing along by the end of that song, weren't you, Carmen?
I was bopping my head a bit, tapping my toes.
Yeah. So I can't wait to hear the finished version of that. But anyway, thank you, Kalsey, so much. Kalsey Kulyk, can't wait to hear the final produced version of that song. But for now, you have plenty of amazing tunes on Spotify everyone can give a listen to. So
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun. So that's a wrap for the 8th episode of Eat North Variety Pack. We'll be back same time next week, noon Mountain Time. So thank you, Carmen, for co-hosting. Kalsey, thank you again, and we'll see everyone next week.
Bye everyone.